Disney's Wish is on the scale today, guys, and to celebrate Disney's 100th year of accomplishing things, they sure put out a very bad film. The film stars a young girl named Asha who desires her papa's wish to be granted by this king who has full control over people's wishes because they willingly give them to this king, which doesn't make any sense because they can literally do it themselves, which is what happens later on in the storyline. But the entire motive or the entire theme for this movie in connection with Asha was that she wants to take her papa's wish away from the king so that it can be granted, thus proving that they don't need the king to grant their wishes, that they can do it themselves. Then somewhere along the line, she wishes upon a shooting star, and then the star becomes a threat to the king, and then he goes berserk and loses his mind. And then there's just a lot of singing in the film, thrown back and forth, back and forth. It was very rushed. It was very rushed. I've never seen Disney build up a storyline in the first 30 minutes of the film. You don't know who Asha is. She's singing all over the place. We don't know what her ethnicity is. I kind of gauge that she's like Hispanic. The way that they drove her story was very slow, and by the time you get to the point where you should be caring about her, you don't really care about her. You're not really seeing the need to care about her. Take for a minute too, thinking about the plot and the plausibility of it. There's no connection between you and the characters, whether it be the king or his wife. He's kind of a jerkbag. Like, the king has no motive for being a lunatic, but he's just going to be a lunatic because he can be a lunatic. Okay, so let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say the king did have a plausible reason for acting like a fool. What was the logic? Because technically, you can't get my wish unless I give it to you. And here's the question: if you wiped my memory, why is there a ceremony for me to attend so that I can see if you're granting my wish when I know that you made me forget the wish in the first place? There was no entertainment value in connection with it. You think about the fact that this is Chris Pine here, and I love Chris Pine. Don't get me wrong. Chris Pine is a phenomenal actor. In this film, he wasn't given much to work with. You have some awesome other individuals here who could have been driven to their full potential, such as Ariana DeBose. She is literally from the West Side Story movie, and she had a nice role in the movie. We know that she can sing, which is obviously why they casted her for this role. But after a while, her singing kind of became tiring to me. I started to get bored throughout the film because she's constantly singing. And these songs are just too trendy. They don't scream Disney when you listen to these songs. But we're celebrating our 100th, right? So that's why Disney wanted to change it, even in connection with the animation behind this film to entertain the audience. It was a kind of a computer animated mixture of the historical hand drawn animation that Disney had started out with, but it kind of came out very cartoonish, very juvenile. It gave a very juvenile attempt. And then the king parades around the movie for a good 15 to 20 minutes singing about how people are ungrateful and he's not getting the things that he deserves. And I'm like, dude, you're like 65, wandering around like a teenager, checking yourselves out in the mirror, checking yourself out in the mirror. I guess it worked. The characters, their performance was good. As a whole, the actors, they carried their roles, but it still just wasn't enough to make you care about the film. That's my concern here. There's no caring about the film, so that kind of makes it like it goes over your head. Then there's always the dialogue. The dialogue was very generic. There's a lot of, oh, Asha, what are you going to do? And, oh, Asha, don't worry about the king. And don't do that because he's a king. And, Asha, what am I supposed to do? A lot of cheesy one-liners in the film. Like the young boy that was the friend of Asha. He makes a lot of smart remarks. Then there's a talking goat. And I don't really understand the presence of the goat in the film. He doesn't really do anything for the film. I mean, I guess he's kind of funny, as funny goes. Just saying. And then her sidekick, for example, this star that's supposed to be assisting her, has no dialogue. I don't know what it is that they were thinking to give her a sidekick that has no dialogue. That is literally the foundation of Disney Joy when they have sidekicks that talk. Mushu and Mulan. You know, you have these characters that have these drives that it's just the main character. So I thought, but we're 100 years in. Disney was like, you know what? Forget about it. We don't need to make it a good film. We just got to throw something out there. There was nothing extraordinary about the atmosphere of the film. Most of the set is them dealing with the king's home, the castle. So a lot of it was the people outside of the castle gathering there to hear the king complain and throw threats at them and whatnot. And I'm like, you guys couldn't have drew a better world than this? It doesn't really make sense, especially the way Disney portrayed the set of the film. Very, very basic. But I will say, though, one thing I did appreciate was how the queen was dressed. She did her thing. There was some detail there, but the pace was slow. The pace was very slow. I kind of got a mix of Encanto with Frozen kind of vibe, and it just seemed like they were trying to pull that off, but then they just pulled that out. It didn't really stick in the film because you have no character development for certain things. So if there's no character development, then your set's going to be off. That's just the reality of it. So it really made it poor. I would say I didn't like Asha. She was not really. She was kind of ditzy. You know, she didn't really add anything to the film. And then all of the singing coming through every second is a song, and then you know that there's a song coming. So it's like, okay, here we go. Time to put the seatbelt on. I think in this film, Disney tried way too hard. It was like corporate came in and they said, hey guys, guess what? We have to worry about our 100th year film. What are we going to do? Well, we are centered around wishes and dreams coming true. Why don't we make a film called Wish? Rock solid idea. Why didn't I think of that myself, Joey? Disney knows that when they put a film out, people are obviously going to see it. But this is one that is literally very, very difficult to sit through. One of the directors made their debut in this film, which it's obvious that there was amateur directing in the film. A lot of persons are upset because they wanted to see certain things come out with this movie. For me personally, I wanted to see a representation of 100 years of Disney zest. 100 years of Disney doing their part. What you end up getting in this film is a bootleg version of a Nickelodeon story. So you got the Nickelodeon story, and then there's the bootleg version, and then that's what Wish is. There's nothing about this film that I would recommend that you see as surprising. There is no value to this film. There is nothing more entertaining or compelling about this film other than the fact that it is a movie made by Disney. My recommendation to you guys is this. You're going to go to this movie, catch a matinee. There are some end credits that you'll want to, I guess, look at. They have different characters on the end credits in connection with all of the persons that they made over the years. And I only sat there because I had no choice. But I would recommend that you catch it on the matinee. Don't expect much. The movie did very, very poorly. There was not much to anticipate when it came to this film. I know some people were talking about, oh, I wish it was more like Frozen, or I wish it was like this. I don't wish any of those things because I simply don't care. But as an actor, as a writer, there has to be, this is 100 years of creativity. And this is the best that you guys could come up with. A 17-year-old girl battles a king for wishes that don't involve either one of them. And then everyone gets their wishes granted at the end of the film, and then that's just the end of it. Like, I don't really know what the goal was there. And then there's a lot of like Disney cameos in the film that you're like, oh, okay. Oh, look, they're referencing Tarzan. Oh, look, they're referencing Snow White. But other than that, the movie doesn't really do anything for you. So I'm going to say Disney, I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but I worries about them. They really need to get it together because a lot of people are not happy with Disney these days. But that's what happens when you go on a writer's strike. So guys, that was the observation of Wish. And I wish you guys all the best in connection with this review. Let me know what you think in the comments. We're going to continue to put things on this scale and let you guys know what's up out there. Love you as always. Peace out.